Good morning everyone. Welcome to Byjus Exam Prep IAS. Welcome to the Hindu analysis of 29 June 2024. Let us look at the articles that we are going to cover today. Number one, India slams deeply biased US report on religious freedom. So let us see what exactly US is saying with regards to religious freedom in India and what is the reaction of India with regards to US. And we are pointing, look at your home also. Number two, a fresh start. So we shall see something related to GST over here. Some landmark decisions taken by GST Council recently. So we shall see what all those decisions are. That would be our second topic. Third, India achieves outstanding outcome in evaluation conducted by FATF. Very good news coming from FATF, Financial Action Task Force. So we shall see what exactly is this here. Apart from these three, the prelims topics today are: number one, make world governance more effective and balanced. China, Xi Jinping tells Global South. Now, this news in itself is not that important, but the thing that they are celebrating 70th year of what we call as the 5 principles of Panchsheel, we shall see that here. Number two, Russia warns of response against US drones over Black Sea. Now again, we don't have to study much over here. This is something, once again, there might be some clashes. Earlier also there have been clashes with regards to Russia, US in Black Sea, but we shall see Black Sea from geography's perspective here. Polavaram project in limbo, says Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Mr. N. Chandrababu Naidu. So we shall see what exactly is Polavaram project, on which river it is. So from geography angle, this might be important. Number four, Botanical Institute sets out to revive rare flowers used in Puri's Jagat Temple. One of the greatest, one of the magnificent temples of India. Scientifically so important, and religiously also very important temple. And basically Botanical Institute is trying to revive some rare flowers which are used over here. Lastly, bringing to life, we shall see one of the sites of World UNESCO's Heritage Site, and slight tidbit about that also we shall be seeing here. So these are the 8 topics for the day. Overall, the news today was less important. There were not a lot of news, but then these 8 are something that we found today. The first one, you can see, India slams deeply biased US report on religious freedom. You can see Mr. Randhir Jaiswal, Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson, saying the exercise itself is a mix of imputations, misrepresentations, selective uses of facts, reliance on biased sources, and a one-sided projection of issues. So we have totally, negated this particular report. We have slammed this. We have criticized this report. So India has slammed this report. This is the report given by whom? US State Department's report it is. What is the name of the report? International Religious Freedom for 2023. We say it is deeply biased and said it reflected, as I said, one-sided, projection of issues. So yesterday, the MEA in the weekly, interaction with the media has said these things, and even questioned the integrity of, the report had questioned certain integrity of legal judgments of our courts. So our MEA spokesperson has basically pointed it out to US that US own record of handling the domestic hate crimes is not that great that they should point fingers at us on this issue. So that's the thing. Now please see here. What do you call the name of this minister? Mr. Anthony Blinken. He is the US Secretary of State. He had unveiled this report. It's one thing, please be very clear. This report is not only about India. We are talking about India only, though it is talking about international religious freedom. And they are pointing out to a number of countries that they have failed to protect the minority groups and they have failed to protect basic human rights. But as we are concerned about India, so in this report, basically about India, they are saying, this report says, in India, we see a concerning increase in anti-conversion laws. hate speech, demolitions of homes and places of worship for members of minority faith communities. So this is the finding of theirs with regards to India. Now, as I said, this is a report for everywhere in the world. And in this report, around 69 pages were dedicated to India. And in this 69 pages, they are saying that many a times the law enforcement agencies, as well as the groups which are the majoritarian groups, they have a complicity. Along with that, they say that, factors like campaign for Uniform Civil Code, UCC, as well as campaign sometimes, to create the India as a Hindu Rashtra. They are pointing out all these in this 69-page report. So as I have already said, from our side, we have, responded to this criticism. Our MEA spokesperson made it very, very clear. And we raised law and order issue in US also. We highlighted the crimes that are happening in US with regards to the racially motivated individuals against Indians and other colored communities. We have already discussed this. We have highlighted this earlier also. In 2023 also, India had taken up this matter of hate crimes, racial attacks on Indian national and other minority, vandalization and targeting of places of worship, violence and mistreatment by law enforcement authorities, as well as according of the political space to advocates of extremism and terrorism abroad. So basically, we are saying to US, before telling us something, you need to look into your own house, set your own house in order. That is the thing that we are saying. So you pointing out to these things to us, we can point out to you. You can see they have mentioned this last point. If you see, according of political space to advocates of extremism and terrorism abroad. Absolutely, this Khalistani groups who have been given so much of patronage in North America, these are certain issues that hurt us. These are certain issues that affect us. Similarly, vandalization of our temples, our gurdwaras. Similarly, you see the attacks on Indian people, attacks on minority. Who will answer that? So this is the thing that we are saying, that India, if you are pointing fingers to us, we can also point fingers to you, and we can also highlight the things that you are doing. Of course, this matter is about the religious freedom in India. So if I tell you some more points, here Mr. Blinken also says, for example, the Christian minorities, what they have pointed it out is that in many times the local police have supported the mobs which disrupt the worship service, on the acquisition of or on the charges of conversions. Similarly, I've already said about UCC and all these. So again, you have to remember that this is one more irritant as far as India-US relation is concerned. US pointing out these things and their report on religious freedom pointing it out all to that India is not doing enough on this particular issue. So that's the first topic of the day. And the second topic, before I get into that, let me just make it better. Just a second. Slightly more. Okay. Now, at the very beginning, I'm not going to teach you GST. Hopefully, this is a topic. This is a static topic. Of course, some things, as it's economics, so some new things keep on getting added. But please study about GST. I'm only going to highlight that in this editorial, they are praising the government. They are saying that GST Council, Goods and Services Council, their meeting was organized last week, and this was the first meeting in apparently 9 months. Now you can understand maybe, the fact that there were so many elections happening. Of course, the national elections was happening since April, May, and now it's June. So almost 3 months of that, or 2.5 months had gone only for the election thing. Before that, the model code of conduct would have come. So there are reasons why this has happened after 9 months. So good that it happened. And when it happened, they took some major decisions. Some very, very important decisions were taken by this council. And they have already resolved that they are going to meet again in the month of August to take up the rest of the issues. So they have taken some decisions. Some of the other decisions that they are saying would be taken in August. So today is 29 June. June is going to end within a day. And then we'll have July and then August. So some preparation time, and they would be discussing the other issues. Now, what are the discussions or what are the decisions that they took? Already we have discussed this once. This is in the editorial. Let me repeat this again. Number one, in order to help the students, the hostel accommodation costing till 20,000 a month has been exempted from GST altogether. Along with that, GST exemption has been given to railway services which are availed by passengers. Now, for example, I'll give you one example. Already the news is that on the platform tickets and all, no GST would be there. Now, you all imagine, crores of Indians, they use these services every day, and when the GST is being reduced or being made zero on this, invariably it's going to be of great help. Similarly, hostel accommodation. Lakhs and crores of our students, many of you might be sitting in different cities preparing for this exam. Now, invariably, you would be going for hostel accommodations. Now, till 20,000, you don't have to pay any GST. Apart from that, uniform 12% rate has been approved for packing cartons, milk cans, solar cookers, and this has done away with the confusing clarification differences that used to happen based on material or technology. See, the thing is, GST always, one of the grievances against this has been that it has been a great law, but the implementation has not been great. But now, when the government is going for this simplification, invariably, it's a great news. Apart from this, Council also opted to waive interest and penalty on tax dues for the first 3 years of GST, provided they are paid by March 2025. So anyone who has not paid, 9 months are there, pay it, and thus your penalties for the first 3 years would be revoked. So all these, some very important decisions that were taken here. Now, I'm sorry. Okay. Now, please understand, in this GST Council, there were new ministers, some 11 new state ministers who had come on board, and of course, the new NDA government at center. So, it's almost a fresh start based on the suggestions that they would have got. And the fact that, union budget is going to happen. And before the union budget, they have already taken such decisions along with, I must say, consultations of the state government. So again, one has to only praise the decisions of this GST Council. So very good decisions have been taken. Lastly, they have lowered stipulated pre-deposits for filing appeals, and they also signed off on ending the anti-profiteering clause, that I'll tell you, that required, there was this I got it. See here. The Council also signed off on ending the anti-profiteering clause that required firms to pass on any tax cut gains to customers and mandating biometric-based Aadhaar authentication for all GST registrations in a phased manner across India. So some very important decisions taken, and already we have discussed this topic. This is the editorial. Overall, this is only praising the government on this matter. Moving ahead. India achieves outstanding outcome in evaluation conducted by FATF. So one of the things is the same, line is repeated, and this evaluation was conducted during 23-24 by Financial Action Task Force. Now, please understand, this report is called Mutual Evaluation Report of India. and it was adopted by FATF in their meeting which was done in Singapore between June 26 to 28. So with this, we have come in the grouping of regular follow-up category. This is a distinction which is shared by only 4 other G20 countries. It's your homework to find out which are these 4 other countries. Those who answer this, we will mention it in the comment box. What are these 4 other countries? Tell me. Because tomorrow this would be the question, which of the following countries are in this grouping? Of course, India would be one of the options, which would be the 4 other correct options. So clearly, this is a significant milestone in India's efforts to curb money laundering as well as terrorist financing. So please understand, India's anti-money laundering, similarly countering the financing of terrorism, and with regards to money, counter proliferation financing regime. These 3, they achieved great success, or they got good marks in simple words if I tell you. So please remember these 3. I'm highlighting India's country's anti-money laundering till here. These 3 regime, they have achieved good results. Including, you can see, international cooperation, access to basic and beneficial ownership information, use of financial intelligence, and depriving criminals of their assets. So rest is all okay. See, one thing, a very old term again has been used today for the first time. After many years, I'm seeing this word, and I'll make it in red. Implementation of the JAM Trinity. In economics, few years ago in the economic survey, it had come. JAM means Jan Dhan, Aadhaar and Mobile Trinity, along with significant regulations with regards to cash transactions, has led to increased financial inclusion and digital transactions. So a very good statement here. Please remember this line about the JAM Trinity, which has helped us to get this. Now, just 1 or 2 information I must give you about the FATF. It is an intergovernmental organization which was established in 1989 on the initiative of G7. The main aim of Financial Action Task Force is to combat money laundering. And later, around 2001, its scope was increased, and in it, the terrorism financing was also added. So very, very important, world agency, and keeps on coming in news. Many times we have discussed this with regards to Pakistan. That is FTF, they have their eyes all the time on Pakistan. So this is India doing great when it comes to FATF. Let us come to our neighborhood. What's happening in China? Make world governance more effective and balanced, China, Xi Jinping tells Global South. Now, please understand, when you will read this, please always remember these are the words of Xi Jinping. So if he says China is doing great, it is his words. If he says China is great when it comes to democracy, if he says so, don't take it too seriously. That's the point that I'm trying to tell you. So if you want to hear some joke of the day, let me read one paragraph to you. China's resolve to stay on the path of peaceful development will not change. We will never take the trodden path of colonial plundering or the wrong path of seeking hegemony when one becomes strong. We will stay on the right path of peaceful development. Now, let me tell you, certain words like China, with it the word peaceful, China, and with this the word, hegemony. And here it's saying that we would not go on the path of hegemony. See, I can tell you, the word peaceful and China are oxymoronic. They cannot go together. And whenever the word hegemony would be there, it will always be associated with China, specifically with regards to Chinese policy towards its neighbors. Now contrast this to China's policies, stated goals, principles with regards to its neighbors. 70 years ago, they talked about 5 principles of peaceful coexistence. Exactly 70 years ago, 1954. Mr. Xi Jinping talks about at that moment that Cold War was going on. And the newly independent countries, they all had gone and adopted these 5 principles. We know these 5 principles were included in China, India, which we use the term Panchsheel, and of course China, Myanmar joint statements. So this, they say, guides our state to state relations. Now in IR you must have studied this. What are these 5 principles? These 5 principles are mutual respect for sovereignty, territorial integrity, mutual non-aggression, mutual non-interference in each other's internal affairs, equality and mutual benefit, lastly peaceful coexistence. So 5 are sovereignty and territorial integrity 1, mutual non-aggression 2, mutual non-interference in each other's internal affairs 3, equality and mutual benefit 4, peaceful coexistence 5. These are the 5 principles which were born in Asia and very soon traveled all over the world stage. Later in 1960s, these 5 principles, as you all know, were adopted by the non-aligned countries. The NAM, the non-aligned movement also, adopted this. And these were the guiding principles of the, NAM. Now, after this, if you see here, beyond this, this is, till here. After that, the things that he says is, that global south should adopt this and all that. These are things that he says that China is doing. Of course, they are not all the time doing it. Now, but then, just, historic image, you can see Jawaharlal Nehru. And if anyone knows who these two are, please tell me. Again, another thing, I'll give you a hint. It came in Indian Express. This picture I've taken from Indian Express. Now, just to give you some idea what China talks about the 5 principles, as I said, we call them Panchsheel, which were the very, very key aspect of Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru's vision of the world, the relations with the neighbors as well as nations. Now, please, think about this. If you have not read about Panchsheel, I would request you to read about this. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Now, just to give you an idea, 1954, there were bilateral talks going between India and China. And there, the Chinese Premier, Mr. Zhou Enlai, had proposed this, which was favored by Jawaharlal Nehru. And in India, we call this term Panchsheel because it traced its origin to the Buddhist concept. Again, in history you would have studied, in ancient history or art and culture, this talks about the 5 moral woes of Buddhism. If you know, please tell me the 5 moral woes of Buddhism. Please comment it here. Last but not the least, remember, this was the time when India for the first time recognized Tibet as a region of China. So beyond that, study about Tibet, study about, NAM and all that. That's all your static current affairs. Moving ahead, Russia warns of response against US drones over Black Sea. So Russian Defense Minister has ordered officials to prepare a response to US drone flights over the Black Sea. So clearly, Russia is going to saying that they'll take action against the America's reconnaissance aircraft. That's the thing that they have said. And the Russians have also said that any clash that happens, who would be responsible for that? NATO would be responsible. So remember, this is not the first time that something like this is happening. On March 14, 2023, a Su-27 fighter jet of the Russian Air Force intercepted and damaged a US MQ-9 Reaper drone, which had crashed into the Black Sea. And that incident was the first direct clash between Russian and the US forces since Cold War. So already such a incident has happened, and hopefully we would expect that such incidents don't happen in future. But then if you see here, Black Sea we have, and if you look at this Black Sea clearly, if you all see, this sea is a part of your Mediterranean Sea. If you all look it from the geography through maps perspective, and as you all can see, on one side you have Europe, the other side you have Asia. So this lies between Europe and Asia. This side you have the Balkans and all that. Now, from geography's perspective, one very important point here that you should remember is, which are the countries that are around Black Sea. As you all can see, you can find Turkey, Ukraine, Georgia, Romania, Russia, and Bulgaria. These are the 6 nations, which surround this. If you go from one side, I'll have to take another pen, red. You can see if I start, Bulgaria is here. Again, this picture is not that clear. Ukraine is here. Russia is here, third. Georgia, you can see. Turkey is there. And of course, you have this Romania. So these are the 6 nations that are being talked over here. So 6 countries have a coastline with this. Though its drainage basin includes almost 24 countries in Europe, and some major rivers like Danube supply water to this Black Sea. So remember this, very, very important. This year also one of the question had come based on North Sea. So we should be prepared for Black Sea also. Moving ahead, Polavaram project in limbo, says Andhra Pradesh CM. Nothing in this slide is important, basically in this article. So you can ignore this. What I wanted to tell you, this Polavaram project, on which river? It is an under construction multi-purpose irrigation project on the Godavari river in Illuru district and East Godavari district of Andhra Pradesh. So remember this for prelims, that on which river this project is there, which districts, which state, and of course do remember it is a national project which is going on almost for 4 decades now. Read about this Polavaram project, when it was inaugurated, when, what is the timeline. You don't have to remember the timeline. I'm only saying that you can see this project is going on, and it has not yet been done or not yet been completed. Second last topic, Botanical Institute sets out to revive rare flowers used in Puri's Jagat Temple. Now, many interesting facts. Number 1, which is this institute? Lucknow-based National Botanical Research Institute. So remember, National Botanical Research Institute is Lucknow-based. It is a CSIR institution. CSIR full form, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research Institution. Now, what they are trying to do, they are reviving some endangered flower species which are used in this 12th century Shri Jagannath Temple in Puri, Odisha. So, there are many, in the scriptures, many flowers are mentioned which adorn this great temple. And many of those flowers are now endangered. That's why this NBRI is trying to revive, those flower species. Some of them are very, very rare species. So, for example, they have already supplied Moria and Davana, also spoken as Diana species flowers, for these temples. So this NBRI, as I said, they are reading all the scriptures, because this temple, which is a magnificent temple, it's a scientific marvel. This temple has a rich tradition, a very, very, I would say, rich tradition, which involves a use of lots of flowers, leaves, to adorn this temple, and along with that to do the sacred rituals which are performed here. So that's why this body is looking into this. So now the demand is to provide these quality planting materials. So some common flowers like marigold, tulsi, jasmine. I've also already mentioned davana, moria, all this, they have to be supplied and they would be introduced. Please see the garden of the temple, that's Mati Tota garden of the temple, in that it would be introduced. So some of these are very, very aromatic flowers, foliage plants, they all are in much demand and they would be introduced over here. Along with that, please understand there is a, in this Namo 108 variety of lotus is also being, provided. So that also has been released by CSIR NBRI and that has been introduced in Koili Bakunt garden of the temple. That's another, garden in this temple. So these two are the gardens which are there in Jagannath temple. So that's the thing that they are doing. So again, if I tell you the deities, they are adorned by these flowers. So floral ornaments they are made to wear, in which a lot of time the tulsi leaves are, intermixed. So here are some, I would say some gardens have also been, created by NBRI, some unique gardens like Navgrah Vatika, Surya Vatika, all that has been, constructed and that is happening here in Puri's Jagannath temple. Moving ahead, one picture bringing to light smart move. The tourism department in Karnataka is planning to promote the UNESCO World Heritage Site. So you already have Somnathpur as the UNESCO World Heritage Site, and they are trying to integrate the Mysore's tourism circuit. So in Mysore, what do you all have? You have Mysuru Palace, Mysuru Zoo, Chamundi Hills, all that is being merged together so that, this promotion can happen of this 13th century heritage site. So please remember and study about the UNESCO's World Heritage Sites. Please remember, it's very tough to remember all the names, but do know that India has 42 sites. This year also there was a question. And out of these 42, 34 sites are cultural, 7 are natural, and 1 is a mixed site. They're all together, these many sites. So one of them, this being in Karnataka, if you haven't traveled, do take some time, go over there, do travel, beautiful temples here, part of UNESCO's World Heritage Site. Let us come to the last 2 questions for the day. Number 1, explain the structure of GST and analyze the need for major reforms related to it. A 15 marker, 250. I hope you all have studied about GST. You have the idea about GST. And the second question is, FATF has helped in preventing illegal trade, money transfer and terror financing in the world. In the light of the above statement, also discuss India's role in this task. 10 marker, 150 words. So you can see these 2 are the questions for the day, and do attend them. Write this economy and I would say IR question or internal security, wherever you put it. And let's meet again tomorrow, same time, same venue. Till then, goodbye. Thank you.